Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into Gilgit-Baltistan. It's a place of staggering geographic scale, breathtaking landscapes, and a deeply complex history that has literally shaped empires. Bordering Afghanistan, China, the Pakistani provinces, and the Indian-administrated territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, this region sits, quite literally, at the roof of the world. Let's find out why it matters so much. Now, to really wrap your head around the sheer scale of this region, imagine an area covering 72,496 square kilometers. That is the massive footprint of this unique administrative territory. It's a vast expanse of land that's actually 6 times larger than its neighbor to the southwest, Azad Kashmir. And tucked inside that massive area, we find an incredible statistic: 5. Gilgit-Baltistan contains 5 of the world's 14 8,000er mountain peaks. That includes the legendary K2, the second highest mountain on Earth, alongside more than 50 other peaks that pierce the sky at over 7,000 meters. No way, right? But wait, it gets even more extreme. 3 of the world's highest, most legendary mountain ranges, the Karakoram, the Himalaya, and the Hindu Kush, literally collide right here. Their tri-point convergence sits right near the confluence of the Gilgit and Indus rivers, making this absolutely one of the most geologically dramatic locations on the entire planet. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the route we're taking today. 1. Where mountain ranges collide. 2. Crossroads of ancient empires. 3. The great geopolitical puzzle. 4. A mosaic of cultures. And finally, 5. The modern mountain economy. Section 1, where mountain ranges collide, a landscape of extremes. The physical reality of this environment pretty much dictates absolutely everything about life here. Over 81% of the region consists of immense glaciers and towering rock. We're talking about vast, ancient glacial networks like the Biafo, Baltoro, and Batora. Because of this, natural forests only cover about 3.6% of the area, and human habitation is severely restricted to these steep river valleys, fed entirely by massive glacial melts. And this brilliantly illustrates the extreme climatic contrasts found within the exact same territory. Up on the Deosai Plateau, which is the second highest plateau in the world, sitting at over 4,100 meters, it is freezing. Compare that to the Chilas and Gilgit valleys, which are scorchingly hot during summer days but can freeze right over at night. You essentially need a heavy winter parka and a swimsuit in the exact same suitcase. Section 2. Crossroads of Ancient Empires. From petroglyphs to the Silk Road.
You might be wondering, with such a harsh physical landscape, how did ancient humans actually survive and thrive here? Well, these valleys served as the ultimate global crossroads. The earliest rock carvings found in Hunza date all the way back to 2000 BC. By the 600s and 700s CE, this area was fiercely contested by Chinese Tang forces and the Tibetan Empire, with both sides recognizing its strategic value. Fast forward to the 14th century, Sufi Muslim preachers from Persia introduced Islam, fundamentally changing the cultural fabric. And that set the stage for powerful local rulers, like the Makpan dynasty, to expand their rule in the 16th century.
Which brings us to a really fascinating question today, one that stems directly from that deep history of shifting empires. Is Gilgit-Baltistan a province, or is it an independent state? The answer is a very delicate bridge between ancient history and modern borders. Section 3, the great geopolitical puzzle, the Kashmir dispute and modern status. And I promise we'll take a strictly impartial look at the facts here. Looking at the historical timeline, the modern era brought some lightning-fast shifts in power. In 1846, the British sold the territory, and it was absorbed by the Dogra dynasty into the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir. But during the partition of the subcontinent in November 1947, locals actually staged the Gilgit Rebellion against the Maharaja's governor. By 1949, the Karachi Agreement formally handed administration over to Pakistan. After decades of varying frameworks, a 2009 self-governance order finally granted the region a semi-provincial status with its own elected assembly. So the crucial point is understanding the modern realities shaped by 2 fiercely competing perspectives. Pakistan administers the region as a semi-provincial territory, but they reject full provincial integration because they assert the broader Kashmir conflict must be resolved according to United Nations resolutions first. Conversely, India officially claims the entire territory is an integral part of the former princely state of Jammu and Kashmir. Meanwhile, much of the local population actually desires full integration as a formal 5th province of Pakistan. It's just a highly complex, ongoing geopolitical puzzle. Section 4. A mosaic of cultures. Diversity in the isolated valleys. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is what happens when we transition from political lines on a map to the incredibly diverse people actually living inside those lines. Because these mountain valleys were so isolated, they protected completely unique languages for centuries. Balti and Shina are the linguistic majorities, but remarkably 17.1% of the population speaks Brushiski. And Brushiski is a language isolate, meaning it literally has no known linguistic relatives anywhere else in the world. The towering mountains acted like fortresses, preserving these distinct ancient cultures right up to today. And the religious demographics are just as beautifully complex. Gilgit-Baltistan is the only Shia plurality area in an otherwise Sunni-dominant Pakistan. You've got Twelver Shia, Sunni, Ismailia, and Nurbak Shia Muslims all living across different districts. It completely proves our narrative point. There is an extreme rich diversity packed tightly into these specific mountain valleys. Section 5. The modern mountain economy. Highways, hydropower, and high peaks. Bringing things into the present day, why does this remote region matter so much to the global economy right now? Because that ancient Silk Road metaphor? It continues today through massive modern infrastructure and a digital economy. We see the legendary Karakoram highway physically connecting Pakistan and China. There's a booming global trekking and mountaineering industry. Surprisingly, there's also a rapidly growing IT sector, driven by local freelancers expected to generate over $17.5 million in revenue by 2025. And finally, massive projects like the Diamer Bashaw Dam are tapping into the region's world-class hydropower potential. Let's move to the data and see how this builds a surprisingly robust economic picture. Out of an estimated gross state product of $2.28 billion, an incredible 17% comes from tourism alone. That is the massive economic impact of international mountaineers flocking here to scale peaks like K2, paired with domestic tourists exploring these spectacular national parks. But we absolutely have to remember that this rugged terrain is incredibly fragile. It is highly susceptible to the modern threat of climate change. It's kind of a chain reaction. Changing rainfall patterns hit the high-altitude mountains, which triggers severe flash flooding like the devastating August 2022 floods in the Heiser and Hunza districts. And that ultimately displaces entire local villages. The environment here is just as delicate as it is massive. So as massive dams, new highways, and digital connections completely reshape its ancient valleys, how will Gilgit-Baltistan balance its delicate extremes? It is a breathtaking, deeply contested crossroads of cultures, empires, and climates. What happens here impacts the entire region, and its future will be absolutely fascinating to watch. Thanks for exploring this explainer with me today.